In other words, the states were the emphasis, and they were in this loose union. It was a union, it's an important union, but it wasn't a national system. It was a bunch of states who decided to get together and unite, small u. All right, and that's very important for people to understand that in the beginning, the word Americans wasn't even being used. I mean, the first time it even emerged was during the French and Indian War, because you had British troops from the homeland and British troops from the colonies. So what do we call the British troops from the colonies? Americans. That's when that term first emerged, French and Indian War. But it really didn't get used widespread until the 1820s. The reason why is at the time of the writing of this Constitution, the attitude was this: I'm a citizen of my state, and my state is a part of this union. I'm a Virginian, or I'm a Pennsylvanian, or I'm a New Yorker, and my state is a part of the United States of America, these states that are united. And that's very significant because the founding fathers, now here for you note takers, this is important, because the founding fathers believed in something called localism, Localism, localism. That means local issues, local government. Local issues, local government. As government gets bigger or moves away from the local community, it handles those bigger things and leaves the local community alone. Local issues, local government. Sounds like a simple concept. And the states were deathly afraid of a big government. Hey, we just fought big government, man. American Revolution, King George, we just fought big government. And here now we've got these delegates in Philadelphia in 1787 say, you know, we're going to write a new constitution to create a big government. Everybody's like, no, we just fought one. What are you doing? What are you, crazy? So they actually closed the doors and really didn't talk much about what they were up to because they were afraid the people would misunderstand, because they were creating a big government. And there were three types of people at that convention. There were your nationalists, people like Alexander Hamilton, who wanted a national system that ruled over everything. Then you had your federalists, who believed in a limited government that only operated on the authorities given to it. Then you had the anti-federalists, guys like George Mason, who's like, you know, this is dangerous. Let's not do this. This is a bad idea. George Mason was there for the entire Constitutional Convention and actually refused to sign it for two reasons. Number one, it didn't abolish slavery. We'll get into that down the road. And it didn't have a Bill of Rights. He was so afraid of this government being formed. He's like, hey, states, don't even ratify this thing unless you get a Bill of Rights, because this is dangerous potentially.
I was wrong about that. I thought that was Alexander Hamilton. So did Hamilton have the same position as Mason?
Yes and no. Hamilton, and we'll get to know Hamilton real well, because for the most part, I'm not a fan of Hamilton. There's a reason why the left made a play and loved him so much with their play. That said, because I don't want to misrepresent Alexander Hamilton. The man loved this country. He was a patriot. He was born in the Bahamas. He came here to be a part of this system. He was George Washington's right-hand man, his scribe. He led a battalion during the American Revolution. So Alexander Hamilton loved this country. So I don't want to take away from that. However, his ideas for governance were very different than what we wound up with. He wanted bigger government. It was actually his idea to have a constitutional convention because he wanted bigger government. And he was looking for an excuse to create one. Fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, the excuse that arose was a good one. So what happened was Shays' Rebellion. Let me real quick frame this. This is actually very important, so I'm glad you asked the question, got me on this track. Shays' Rebellion, what had happened is after the Revolutionary War, the government under the Articles of Confederation, which was the Constitution before the Constitution, there were 4 founding documents.